Well, here we are, guys. Welcome to part 2 of CorelDRAW. These are live videos, they're not edited, so excuse me if I make any mistakes along the way. Okay, last time we created some simple shapes, so I'll just go through that again. So if I use the rectangle tool, I can pull out a rectangle, and then I can change the dimensions up here in the dimension box. So let's just make that 60 millimeters. You can see it jumps to a square 60 millimeters. If you find that the object isn't where you want it in the window, you can go to fit up the top, okay, and it will jump to the size on the screen. Okay, then I think I'll just add a circle just to show that overlapping again. If you want to create shapes, make the circle 40 by 40, say. And yeah, I've got this shape, but I'd quite like to make it one piece, so I'll just use the virtual segment delete tool underneath the crop tool, and you know, that's a good way to learn how to take lines out. At the moment, I can move this apart. It's not grouped, so I need to group it together. I just cursor over the whole lot and hit Group Objects, Control G on the keyboard. And now that is one piece. Okay, so that was just how to make basic shapes. Run through it again. However, when we come to using the laser, any objects with an outline that we want to cut out, they need to be in a certain line weight. So line weights can be changed up here, but let's look down the bottom and you'll see a nib of a pen nib, an old-fashioned pen nib, and a square, saying R0, G0, B0. We'll just click on that, double click, and we can change the color. Change the color to red, so you can just click down to the bottom of the red zone, pull that square up like that, and it should say 25500. If it doesn't, you might see it says 85. Change it. 25500 is the cut command for the laser. We've got two types of laser. One works in line weights and it runs off the hairline. That's the epilogue. So if we make sure we have hairline and red, it'll work on any of our lasers. That's the cut command, okay? You did that in year 7, hopefully you might remember now. If you want to etch anything that's above, if I want to do an etch, a circle on there, I could fill it. If I wanted that to etch in, it would have to be above 0.5. So if you make it 0.75, that will now etch rather than cut, okay? I'll just delete that. Using text, I would advise you pick up the text button, click anywhere and type. Okay, Tigers, Hawks would win. Not anymore. So you got the text. You might want to change the font. To change the font, you have to highlight it, and then you've got to the top. You can see it's in Arial. I could change that to anything I like, Bauhaus, and you can change the font size, or you can you can just drag the font back and forth like an object. All right, so that text would obviously etch. All right. The other thing I wanted to show you then was, we've got line weights out of the way, was using images. So many of you will want to use images. To pull an image in, so find it on using Google or whatever you use as a browser, save the image to your desktop, even if it's one of our laptops, and then to open it, for file, you don't use file open, you use file import, Control I. So click on the import button, and I've already saved something on my desktop, so let's have a look if I can find it on my desktop. Test Corel, Richmond Tigers logo. Okay, you'll see you just get this sort of right angle on words. You click and drag. Okay, click and drag, and then you have your logo. Now that logo is a bitmap. It would etch at the moment, and it would be a bit muddy, so it's better to trace the bitmap and clean it up, make it a vector, which is a more of a mathematical formula than an image. Okay, so it keeps it clean anyway. So you go trace bitmap up the top, and we're going to do an outline trace detailed logo. Okay, you'll get a dialog box will come up. In that dialog box, I want you to choose detail. Just move it up to sort of near 100. You can leave the others as they are. Then you're going to say delete original. Okay, all the rest should be default, and click OK. Now if you have a really rubbishy image down the bottom, it means that your initial image was too small, too pixelated, so you may have to find a better image. But if it looks fairly decent, click OK. Now I'll just, with the cursor on, I'll just check that I still have an original image underneath, so I'll just delete that. And now this is not a bitmap, this is a vector. Okay, the laser's not going to give me colors, it's just going to give me varieties of black and white, if you like, to etch. So I'll take these fills, these color fills out. To do that, on the right hand side, at the top of this lovely palette of colors, where is the red line in a square? Just click that and that will reduce fills. Now it's disappeared. That's okay, it's still there. You just need to change the weight. I'll go up the top and do it this time. And change it to say 0.5. Boom, there it is with no color. But you might say, well, I want to etch into that. Okay, I want these to sort of look black or gray or whatever it'll look like. So what you can do is go over it with a cursor. Okay, click the ungroup object button, and then come down on the left hand side down the bottom. There's something called the interactive fill tool. Click on the interactive fill tool and you should be able to click areas, and I'll just click off that. So you need to choose a fill, so you just choose a grey or a black, and it will allow you then to just select parts that you want to fill in. Okay, so you fill it in like that, and that will give you then an etched design. The laser will etch it, so it'll look a bit more dynamic than just having it just lines. You'll have some fills in it. So that's the interactive fill tool. Okay, Control Z goes back. But another thing, some of you might want the whole of this to be your design. Yeah, you might say, well, I'd actually like to make an outline. How do I make an outline? Okay, to make an outline of, say, this tiger logo, use the pick tool, highlight it. Okay, I might just regroup it together so that it doesn't come apart. Okay, and then with it highlighted, go to Object at the top, next to Layout and Effect in the middle, Object, Shaping, and then on Shaping, go to Boundary. Okay, you can see it's highlighted the boundary, and again you can change the line weight, so we'll go Color, and we want RGB red 25500, that's a cut. Press OK, and just because we might use the other laser, make it a hairline width. And I don't know whether you can see, but we now have an outline boundary that would cut out and the tiger would etch. Right, with the knowledge you have now of using the drawing tools, using the text tool, using the virtual segment delete tool, using the boundary tool and the interactive fill, you should be able to create your earbud tidy. Okay, I'll just remember as well, you can do outlines if I did an outline in a rectangle, remember that shape tool I showed you? That'll round the edges of rectangles. And just remember that you change the dimensions up here. So think that it has to fit in a pocket. So think about how big a pocket is. And that, oh, one other thing. So you might want your wires to wrap around somehow, especially in notches. To make a notch, take an ellipse tool, and you know, you can just, oops, see it's live. You can pull out an ellipse, and you can use the virtual segment delete tool and just delete these bits, and you get a notch. You know, the wires for your earbud tidy would slot into. Oh, but I want it on the other side exactly the same. You can, these rulers around the top and the side, you can click on them once and drag them. So I could drag them onto that node there. I've got a center line to work off. Okay, the other thing you can do is I could hit that line I've made and press Control D. Control D duplicates things. And up here there's mirrors, so I could flip it, and there's other ways of doing this. Okay, this is just a way that I know boys use and find okay. I'll zoom in. You can use the keyboard tools to sort of maneuver things about in smaller increments, and there you go, it's all lined up. That will give me my notch. Take that out. Ooh. Control Z. Now that happens if there isn't an intersect. So just, these lines just have to sort of intersect over a little, the other lines a bit. You try it and you'll find out basically. And there you go. That's how to make your notches. Obviously the tiger would cut out there because I've got an outline on it. And that's it. Hopefully now you'll be able to create your earbud tidy. Don't forget to save your work, file save as, and find your own area. And remember to save it as version 18, because our lasers are not running on the modern on the current updates. Anyway, and there it is. Well, anyways, enjoy.